Hello, everyone. I welcome you all in English Voice with Nikita. I know that I'm a bit late and I did not upload any video. Actually, I was so busy. It's fine. Let's get started. Today, I have come up with new video that is all related to the verbs and it is of the class 7th. So this chapter is a bit difficult for those students who don't have the basics. So I'm here to help you with the basics as well as I'll teach you the advanced level. See, the verbs are the most important topic. Today, we are going to learn about the verbs, introduction, forms of verbs, strong and weak verbs. Then there would be some types of verbs like transitive verbs, intransitive verbs, and two types of objects, that is direct objects and indirect objects. Okay, good to go. So this is going to be our learning goal where we are going to learn about verbs, forms of verbs, weak and strong verbs, transitive and intransitive, direct and indirect objects. All right. So can you see this picture? Take a moment, think about it. It's a daily life words, right? Action verbs, run, jump, dance, climb, swim, throw, catch, write, and sing. What are you observing? Can you see these verbs are expressing their actions, events, or states of being? So, states of being are like, you're thinking or somewhere you exist, all these words. Tell us what the subject or sentence is doing or had done. That means you're talking about the subject, that is the doer or doer of the action. If you're performing any action, that means the subject is performing that action. That's why it's written. That subject of sentence is doing or had done. So that's all about action verbs. Now, let's see the types of verbs. It's a kind of a recap and revision for the class 7 students. If you feel like you are not, you know, at a moment you are not able to recall all the things, that's why I'm here with this recap. Types of verbs. What are the types of verbs? See, we have categorized it in different forms of verbs so that you can recall it whenever you need it. For example, you are using any tenses. So at that particular moment, you can recall which verbs you have to use at which tense. So the different tenses, so I'm not going into the tense right now. See the base form of the verb, that is the root form of the verb, V1 form. Then the second is V2, that is past simple form. Third is past participle, that is V3 form. Then present participle, that is V4 form. And third person singular present, that is V5. That means it's specifically written third person singular present tense, not any other tenses. That means you have to add s, es, or ies to the verb to make it third person singular in simple present tense for the affirmative sentences. It's clear. Keep it in your mind. V5, we use it just for the simple present tense and also specifically for the positive sentences or the affirmative. Both are same. Let's go to the V1 form, that is the base form, origin, or the root form of the verbs. That is go, eat, give, fly, lie, wake. For go, we use V2 as went, V3 as gone, 4 is ing. So now I have categorized V5. Now focus to the V4 form. That means you're talking about continuous. Okay, this is a trick that you can remember. Add ing to the verb to make it continuous form. So V4 we always use in continuous tense, be it present, past, or future continuous, or even past perfect continuous, present perfect continuous, or future perfect continuous. In these all six, your main verb is going to be V4 form. Clear? A past participle is V3. That means you are using this V3 with the perfect tenses of present, past, and future by adding in present has or have plus V3, in past had plus V3, in future will have plus V3. That means gone, eaten, given, flown, flight, waken. Then simple past simple form is the V2 form where you are using it as a subject plus V2 plus object. where you are using only simple past. Went, ate, gave, flew, lied, woke. Okay? See, there's one confusion every time to the students. What happened is when you're saying have gone, or has gone, or had gone, or will have gone. But sometimes it happens that you are using that she gone. Okay, so you have to use whether you're using present, past, or future. She has gone or have gone. Not have, she has gone. Is the correct sentence. She had gone. And she will have gone. Not she gone. So the correct form would be she went because it's the simple past. That's why you're using the structure subject plus V2 plus object. Now see, it's clear now. V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. Go, went, gone, going, goes. So you can also do one more thing. Just to remember it, you use the helping verbs as well to remember. All right. So types of verbs. Action verbs are the workhorses of language because it is important to learn these verbs. They denote action that can be seen, heard, felt, or experienced. She runs every morning. They laughed loudly at the joke. So they did what? They laughed. And how they laughed? They laughed loudly. So here the laughed is action. So which cannot be seen or felt. It's like you can hear that okay, this is something that is performing an action, or any people is performing the action. Now see the regular and irregular verbs. So we have regular and irregular that we have seen weak and strong. That means regular are the weak one and irregular are the strong one. See, regular follows a predictable pattern when conjugated. So you know that for walk, you're going to add ed or d, depends on the verb. So here in walk, you're adding ed. So V2 and V3 both are saying walked, walked. But in irregular forms, they do not follow the standard rules of conjugation. That means it is not going to repeat for the V2 and V3. If you're saying go, your V2 will be went and V3 will be gone. For eat, it would be V2 would be ate and V3 would be eaten. So eat, ate, eaten, go, went, gone. Got it? All right. It's a very interesting topic. See the direct objects and indirect objects. So whenever you're talking about the objects, so we categorize it into two parts, direct and indirect. Why I'm teaching you this? To learn the transitive and intransitive verbs. Okay? See, in direct objects, when the direct objects are nouns or pronouns, that directly receives the action of the verbs, which receives the action of the verb. That is direct object. Okay, so direct objects are the nouns or pronouns that directly receives the action. So if your subject, if your direct object are nouns or the pronouns, that will directly receive the action of the verb. For example, she wrote a book. What did she write? She wrote a book. So the direct object is a book. Wrote is the verb here, that is V2 form, and book is the direct object of the sentence. Same sentence, some sentences don't have a direct object. We cried angrily. So we cried angrily, but there is no object, right? The verbs with direct objects are called transitive. So whenever a verb is having direct object, for that verb, we will define it as transitive verbs. And verbs without direct objects are called intransitive verbs. That's why I'm teaching direct and indirect. You already know this, it's a revision. Intransitive verbs are sometimes followed by a prepositional phrase or adverbial phrase. So, intransitive verbs are sometimes followed by a prepositional phrase or adverbial phrase. So, we laughed at the movie. What did we do? We laughed. Laughed at what? The movie. So, it is intransitive because some followed by a prepositional phrase or adverbial phrase. So, it's a kind of a preposition at the movie. So, it's intransitive. Indirect objects are nouns or pronouns that the verb is being directed at. We baked Kelly a birthday cake. We baked Kelly a birthday cake. So baked is the verb here and birthday cake is the direct object because you're receiving the birthday cake. Cake is here the direct object and Kelly is the indirect object. So here you can ask who received the cake or no, sorry. We baked Kelly a birthday cake. So birthday cake was for whom? For Kelly. That's why Kelly is indirect object. For whom? We ask this question for indirect objects. And what did they bake? That was the birthday cake. That's why it's a direct object. We can only use an indirect object if there is a direct object in the sentence. So we can only use an indirect object if there is a direct object in the sentence, because that object is given to whom? That is also a question, right? That's why here we baked Kelly a birthday cake. We baked Kelly what? A birthday cake. If we are saying we baked a cake or we baked a birthday cake, that means the sentence got over, subject plus verb plus object. So here you don't have any indirect object. But if you have the direct object as birthday cake, that means you are adding Kelly here to tell that Kelly is an indirect object. All right, students. So indirect objects can only be used as transitive verbs. Indirect objects can only come after the verb and before the direct object. So before the direct object, so this is the direct object, birthday cake. And before the birthday cake, you have Kelly. That means this is indirect object. So it's a kind of a trick that you can remember, that indirect objects can only come after the verb. So after the verb, baked is the verb, and after the verb, we have Kelly, that is indirect objects, and before the direct object. So direct object is birthday cake. So before birthday cake, we have Kelly, and before Kelly, we have verb baked. So indirect object is between the verb and the direct objects. So in between, you have indirect object, and apart after the direct indirect object, you have direct object, and before indirect object, you have verb. Okay, clear? After the verb and before the direct object. All right. Verb complements indirect and direct object. There are some examples related to it. The receiver of the action expressed by the verb, that is direct object. Indirect object, the receiver of the direct object, tells to whom or to what or for what the action is performed. But in direct object, we ask the questions like what or whom. He bought an umbrella. He bought what? He bought an umbrella. It's a direct object because after verb you have the direct object, umbrella. He bought me an umbrella. See, indirect object is in between the verb and the direct object. That's why he bought me an umbrella. He bought an umbrella for whom? For me. That's why me is an indirect object and umbrella is a direct object and bought is a verb. Subject plus verb plus indirect object plus direct object. In this sentence, we have Sam made Sophie a doll house. Sam made is a verb. Sophie is indirect object and the doll house is direct object. Sam made a doll house for Sophie. So Sam made a doll house. A doll house again is a direct object, but it's written just before Sophie. It's fine because you are able to understand for whom, for Sophie. I gave Tony the empty basket. So the empty basket is indirect object because it's in pink color. See, the empty baskets. I gave Tony, so Tony is direct object here. Now see, indirect objects are not always present in a sentence with a direct object. So Sam made a doll house. So Sam made a doll house. Here it is simple sentence indicating indirect objects are not always present in a sentence with a direct object. So she made a dollhouse. Dollhouse is a direct object, but there is no indirect object. We have cut the Sophie. So subject plus verb plus object. Phrases and clauses can be direct objects. We knew that the trip was cancelled. So this is phrase that the trip was cancelled. So it can be direct object. A sentence can have multiple direct and indirect objects. She sent me a gift when I gave her my address. So she gave me a gift. She gave gift to whom? To me. When did she give? When I gave her my address. So my address is direct object and her is indirect object. All right, very nice. Transitive and intransitive. See, intransitive and intransitive, what we have is transitive contains the object. She ate the cake. The cake is the object and ate is the verb. Intransitive, he laughed. He laughed at whom? You don't have an answer. That means transitive needs an object and intransitive does not need an object. The best example is transitive versus intransitive verbs. Follow the diagram. Transitive verb, subject plus verb plus object. She reads a book. A book is an object. It needs an object. That's why transitive. Intransitive, subject plus verb. There's no object. The baby cried. The baby cried for whom? To whom? No answer. No object needed. Intransitive and transitive, the action passes to the object, that is transitive. Intransitive, the action stops with the subject, that is subject plus verb, that's it. So you have to ask what or whom for the object, that means direct object. And to know the indirect object, you have to ask for whom, to whom. So if the answer exists as the object, that is transitive. If no, then it's intransitive. You can see this example here. He kicked the ball. They built a house. She reads a book. Subject plus verb plus object. This is transitive verb. It needs an object to complement its meaning. Intransitive verb does not need an object. Subject plus verb. That's it. The baby cried. He runs fast. She slept early. Birds fly. The sentence is complete even without an object. All right. This is a very nice difference between transitive and intransitive. Transitive needs an object, action passes to something. She wrote a letter. She wrote what? She wrote a letter. Intransitive verb, no action needed. Action stays with the subject, she wrote. That's it. So ask what or whom, then you'll get the answer of the object, then it would be transitive. You can see this example. Transitive and intransitive verb that requires an object to act upon does not require an object. To sing, to jump, to shine, it doesn't need an object. But to catch a ball, to bring a book or vegetables, to carry boxes or bags. So here you need an object. To leave, to clean, it's common, transitive or intransitive. Okay, the same picture, to explain it more further, you can pause it and you can read it for yourself. So you will better understand. This is intransitive verbs. These are arrive, come, cry, depart, fall, go. So these are common. So these are intransitive. I'm happy today. I breathed a sigh of relief when all my exams were over. The fire burned brightly all night long until it was put out by the fire department. It's fine. Okay, verb tenses, past tense, present tense, future tense. So past, present, future, it depends on the tenses and the verbs. So for past, subject plus V2. She played tennis yesterday. So yesterday is the word that is indicating about the past tense. In present, it's he teaches English. That is V5 form, SES or IES we use for present, but only for simple present tense and positive sentence. Future, they will arrive tomorrow. Will plus V1 form. All right, some examples. Harry passed the salt. Harry passed the salts. He passed what? Salt, transitive. Priya flew a kite. Kite is what? An object, transitive. Here the salt is an object. Deer runs past. Runs past. There's no object, intransitive. I read a book. A book is object, transitive. She eats in a hurry. Hurry is not an object, so intransitive. The book was lost, intransitive. Lost is not an object. Have you washed your hands? Your hands, transitive. I dressed and went out, no object, intransitive. Balu threw the ball. The ball is again an object, transitive. I did not eat yesterday. Did not eat. Eat what? No answer. Intransitive. Birds fly. Fly. Where fly? What fly? No answer. Intransitive. Raghu wrote an essay in the competition. Wrote what? Wrote an essay. Where? In the competition. It's transitive. She realized the truth. She realized what? The truth. The thief escaped cleverly. Escaped cleverly. Intransitive. Dogs guard the house. The house is object, transitive. My father gifted me a watch, transitive. Gifted me what? A watch. She danced gracefully, intransitive, no object. The evidence was hidden, intransitive, was hidden. That's it. Karthik unveiled the curtain, transitive. What did Karthik unveil? It was the curtain. Curtain is an object, transitive. Okay, guys. Students, not guys. Do you have any question about the verbs now? Feel free to ask and I'll be happy to clarify any doubts you may have. You can text or you can comment down in this comment box, or if you really want to learn more and if you have any queries related to this, you can WhatsApp me, you can email me. My number is on my bio and you can check it out, 8674-899-124. So this is the official number of English Slides with Nikita. So here you can ask for the query. You can ask for the classes as well if you want to enroll for. Otherwise, let's stop the screen now. This was it for today, and we have learned verbs, types, some forms of it, some direct object, indirect object, transitive, intransitive verbs. So these things that we have learned today, I hope that you are going to practice it, the 7th standard students. And if you have any queries, feel free to ask. All right, let's end the class today. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye. Take care.